My mother has been poisoning me, Amara whispered into the darkness, her voice scratching like rusted metal. The sound of it, her own voice, weak but real, made tears spill down her cheeks. She pressed record on her hidden phone, needing to document this moment, this truth that had shattered everything. For 7 years. These pills, they're not vitamins. They're what stole my voice. What made me compliant. What turned me into her perfect, silent daughter. Amara Bennett's hands trembled as she stared at the 4 pills on her nightstand, 2 white, 2 blue, all lies. She'd been taking them every morning for 7 years, believing they were vitamins for her health, supplements for her condition, medicine to help her thrive. But tonight, she'd overheard her mother on the phone. Tonight, she'd learned the truth. She picked up one of the white pills, held it up to the lamplight. It looked so innocent. So small. How could something so tiny destroy so much? Her reflection stared back from the dark window, 22 years old but looking younger in her silk nightgown, the tight corset beneath it pressing against her ribs with every breath. Victoria insisted she wear it daily. For posture, darling. For elegance. A lady must always look her best. The tracking anklet around her left ankle caught the lamplight, its innocent rose gold finish hiding the GPS chip that let Victoria Bennett monitor her daughter's every movement. Amara stood, walked to her mirror, and stared at the girl she'd been forced to become. Perfect posture. Silent lips. Obedient eyes. Clothes that weren't hers. A body that wasn't hers. A life that wasn't hers. But behind those eyes burned something Victoria had tried to crush for 7 years, rage. But tonight, Amara continued, her whisper growing stronger, I stopped taking them. Tonight, I take my voice back. She looked directly at her phone camera. And I'm going to burn her empire to the ground. 3 weeks earlier. Victoria Bennett swept into her daughter's bedroom without knocking, because mothers didn't need to knock, did they? She carried a silver tray with orange juice and 4 pills, 2 white, 2 blue, all poison disguised as love. Good morning, my darling, Victoria said, her voice warm as summer honey and just as likely to trap you. She was 50 but could pass for 40, her dark skin flawless, her natural hair styled in an elegant updo, wearing a cream Chanel suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Did you sleep well? Amara nodded, reaching for her tablet. The device was her voice, had been since she'd mysteriously lost the ability to speak at 15. She typed, yes, mother. Thank you. Take your vitamins first, sweetheart. You know how important your health is to me. Victoria watched like a hawk as Amara placed each pill on her tongue and sipped the juice. What she didn't see was the way Amara had learned to tuck them under her tongue, the way she'd swallow only liquid, the way she'd spit them into tissues the moment Victoria left. But that was yesterday. Today, Amara had run out of hiding places for pills. Today, she had to take them or face Victoria's concern, which was worse than her anger. The pills went down. Amara felt them sliding toward her stomach, carrying their poison, their silence, their control. Victoria smiled and adjusted Amara's corset, tightening the laces with practiced fingers. Amara winced, it was always too tight, restricting her breathing, making her ribs ache. But Victoria believed a proper lady wore proper foundation garments. Control started with the body, she always said. Perfect. Now, I have news that you're going to be thrilled about. She sat on the edge of the bed, taking Amara's hand. Do you remember the Kang family? Your father arranged a marriage contract before he died. Well, Kang Ji-hoon is arriving from Seoul next week. He's finally ready to honor the agreement. Amara's eyes widened. She typed frantically, marriage? But I'm still in university. I haven't even. Before we proceed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and tell us where you are watching from. You've had enough time to be a child, Victoria interrupted gently. It's time to secure your future. The Kang family is powerful, respected. They'll protect you from the world's cruelties. Her grip tightened on Amara's hand. You do want to be protected, don't you? The unspoken threat hung in the air like humidity before a storm. Amara nodded slowly. Good girl. Victoria kissed her forehead. Marcus will drive you to Imperial College as usual. I'll be visiting the gallery today, but I'll know if anything unusual happens. She tapped Amara's anklet meaningfully. After Victoria left, Amara sat motionless for exactly 3 minutes, counting her breaths the way her therapist, the one Victoria didn't know about, the one Amara saw during extra study sessions, had taught her. Then she stood, walked to her closet, and pulled out the loose floorboard where she'd hidden her secrets. A burner phone. A USB drive with copied security footage. A photo of her sister Serena, taken 3 years ago, laughing with her head thrown back, so alive it hurt to look at. And beneath it all, a folder she'd found in Victoria's study 2 weeks ago, medical records showing prescriptions for selective mutism treatment that Amara had never consented to. Pills that were never meant to help her speak. Pills designed to keep her silent. That's when she'd stopped taking them. That's when everything changed. Imperial College London's mathematics building was gothic and imposing, the kind of place where brilliant minds went to prove theorems and solve equations that would change the world. Amara loved it there because in mathematics, silence was acceptable. Equations didn't judge. Numbers didn't ask why she couldn't speak. Marcus Webb, her mother's head of security, walked 3 paces behind her as always. He was a mountain of a man, 45 years old with the bearing of the Royal Marine he'd once been. His face rarely showed emotion, but sometimes Amara caught him looking at her with something that might have been pity. Professor Chen was halfway through a lecture on cryptographic algorithms when Amara slipped into her usual back row seat. She pulled out her tablet and stylus, ready to take notes, but her mind kept circling back to the pills she'd been forced to take this morning and the arranged marriage announcement and the way Victoria had said, protect you, like it meant, control you. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart raced as she glanced at Marcus. He was checking his own phone, distracted. She opened the message. I know what your mother is doing to you. Meet me at the Thames waterfront, Embankment Pier, 6 p.m. Come alone. Or come with your guard dog. I don't care. But come if you want answers about your sister. A friend. Amara's hands shook so hard she nearly dropped the phone. Serena. Someone knew about Serena. She typed a response with trembling fingers. How do I know you're real? The answer came immediately. Serena's last words to you were, promise me you'll find a way to fly. You promised. I'm offering you wings. Amara's breath caught. No one knew that. No one except her and Serena, in a whispered conversation through Amara's locked door the night before Serena ran away. She'd been 14. Serena had been 19. For the first time in 7 years, Amara felt something stronger than fear. She felt hope. Embankment Pier at 6 o'clock was a circus of tourists and street performers, the London Eye spinning lazily in the background, the Thames flowing dark and ancient beneath the bridges. Marcus stood rigid beside Amara, his hand hovering near the gun he definitely wasn't supposed to have on British soil. Your mother won't be happy about this detour, he said quietly. Amara typed on her tablet, I told you. I need to buy a gift for Mother's charity gala. The shop is nearby. There's no shop here. I changed my mind. I want to watch the river. Marcus sighed but said nothing. He'd always been the kindest of Victoria's enforcers, which wasn't saying much. Once, when Amara was 16 and had tried to run, Marcus had caught her within 5 blocks. But he'd also waited an extra hour before calling Victoria, giving Amara time to compose herself before facing her mother's disappointment. A man approached from the shadows near the pier. He moved like water, fluid and deliberate, wearing a long black coat despite the mild weather. When he stepped into the lamplight, Amara's breath stopped. He was Korean, probably late 20s, with sharp features that could have been carved from marble by an artist who understood danger. His eyes were dark and assessing, the kind of eyes that saw through pretense. He was beautiful in the way a blade was beautiful, elegant and deadly. Miss Bennet, he said, his English perfect but accented. I'm glad you came. Marcus stepped forward immediately. Identify yourself. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. My name is Kang Ji-hoon. I believe Miss Bennett's mother mentioned my arrival. He pulled out an ID, handed it to Marcus. I'm early. I prefer to assess situations before walking into them. Amara's mind raced. This was her arranged fiancé? This dangerous, beautiful stranger who somehow knew about Serena? Ji-hoon's gaze moved to her, and something flickered in his expression. You're exactly as described. Perfect posture. Silent. Controlled. He said the last word with distaste. May I speak with you? Privately? Marcus tensed. Absolutely not. Then may I speak with you while your guard listens? Ji-hoon's tone made it clear this wasn't really a question. He gestured to a bench overlooking the water. They sat. Marcus stood close enough to hear but far enough to give an illusion of privacy. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of amber and blood. I'm going to tell you something, Ji-hoon began, his voice low, and I need you to show no reaction. Can you do that? Amara nodded once, her heart hammering. Your sister Serena is alive. She's being held in your mother's house, in a basement that doesn't exist on any official floor plan. I know this because I've been investigating your family for 3 months, ever since my father agreed to this marriage alliance. I don't go into business arrangements blind, Miss Bennett. And what I've found. He paused, his jaw tightening. Your mother is not the philanthropist she pretends to be. Amara's hands clenched in her lap. She wanted to scream, to cry, to grab Ji-hoon and beg him to save Serena. Instead, she slowly reached for her tablet and typed, proof? Ji-hoon pulled out his phone, angled it so only she could see. The video showed grainy security footage, a basement room with a single cot, a bucket, and a woman with matted hair and hollow eyes. But Amara would know her sister anywhere. She's alive, Ji-hoon said softly. But for how much longer, I don't know. Amara's composure shattered. A sob broke from her throat, a sound she hadn't meant to make, a sound she hadn't made in 7 years. Marcus heard it and turned sharply, his hand going to his gun. What did you do to her? Marcus demanded. Nothing, Ji-hoon said calmly, standing. I simply told her the truth. Now she has to decide what to do with it. He looked down at Amara, and for the first time, his expression softened. I'll be in London for the next 3 weeks, staying at the Canary Wharf Peninsula Hotel. If you want my help rescuing your sister, come to me. But come soon, Miss Bennett. Time is a luxury neither of you can afford. He walked away, disappearing into the crowd as smoothly as he'd appeared. Marcus grabbed Amara's arm, not roughly but firmly. We're leaving. Now. And this never happened, do you understand? If your mother finds out. Amara wrenched her arm away and typed furiously, if my mother finds out what? That her prisoner might have a chance at freedom? That you've been lying to me for 3 years, telling me Serena ran away when she's been in a cage beneath my feet? Marcus's face crumbled. You don't understand. Victoria, she's not well. After what happened to her, after what she survived, she became protective. Too protective. I tried to help Serena escape once. Victoria found out. She made it clear that if I tried again, she'd frame me for trafficking and make sure I spent the rest of my life in prison. I have a daughter, Amara. A little girl who depends on me. So you chose your daughter over someone else's? Amara wrote. Yes, Marcus whispered. God help me, yes. And I'll regret it until I die. But I won't watch you walk into a trap. Kang Ji-hoon is from the Seoul Underground. His family runs half the organized crime in South Korea. If you think your mother is dangerous, you haven't seen anything yet. Amara stood, brushed off her dress, and typed one final message. Then maybe I need someone dangerous on my side. The next week passed in a haze of planning and pretense. Amara smiled and nodded through Victoria's wedding preparations, choosing flowers she didn't care about and tasting cakes she couldn't enjoy. But every morning, she hid the pills under her tongue and spit them out the moment Victoria left. Every night, she felt her voice growing stronger, whispers becoming words, words becoming sentences. At night, she communicated with Ji-hoon through encrypted messages on her burner phone, learning the details of his plan. His assistant Min-soo had been watching the Bennett mansion for weeks. They knew Victoria left every Tuesday for exactly 4 hours to meet with her business partners, associates who were less, gallery owners, and more, money launderers for international crime syndicates. They knew Marcus brought Serena food at 3 a.m. when the rest of the staff was asleep. They knew the basement had an emergency exit that led to the underground garage. They didn't know if Serena was strong enough to walk. On Tuesday morning, Victoria was particularly affectionate, brushing Amara's hair with long, gentle strokes that made Amara's skin crawl. "I'm so proud of you," Victoria murmured. "Accepting this marriage so gracefully. Your father would be proud too. The Kang alliance will protect our family's legacy." She paused, her hands stilling. "You are happy, aren't you, darling?" Amara typed, "Of course, mother. I want to make you proud." "You always do." Victoria kissed the top of her head. "I have to leave for a few hours. Marcus will be here, and the staff, of course. Don't do anything strenuous. And wear the cream corset today, it makes your waist look perfect. You need to look perfect for Mr. Kang's official visit tomorrow." The moment Victoria's car pulled away, Amara's phone buzzed. "It's time." The service entrance. 5 minutes. JH. Amara's hands shook as she changed from her silk dress into jeans and a black hoodie, clothes she'd hidden in her closet, clothes Victoria would never approve of. She looked at herself in the mirror one last time as the perfect daughter, then reached behind her back and loosened the corset laces, letting it fall to the floor. For the first time in 7 years, she took a full, deep breath without restriction. She felt like she might fly apart. Marcus was at his post by the front door when Amara descended the servants' staircase, moving silently on bare feet. The service entrance was clear. She slipped through, into the alley behind the mansion, where a sleek black Mercedes waited with its engine running. Ji-hoon opened the passenger door from inside. "Get in." Amara hesitated for half a second, this was the point of no return, then climbed in. The door closed and Ji-hoon accelerated smoothly into London traffic. "You came," he said, glancing at her. "I wasn't sure you would." Amara pulled out her tablet but Ji-hoon shook his head. "Don't. I've seen the footage of you as a child. I've heard recordings of your voice from before. I know you can speak, Miss Bennett. The only question is whether you will." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. "Why?" The word came out like broken glass, rough and painful, but it was hers. "Why are you helping me?" Ji-hoon's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Because my father died 3 years ago in a car bomb meant for my mother. The device was built by a specialist your mother hired through her Russian contacts. She was eliminating competition for a shipping route. My father was collateral damage." Amara's blood ran cold. "You want revenge." "I want justice," Ji-hoon corrected. "And I want to make sure no one else suffers because of Victoria Bennett's twisted version of protection. Your sister first. Then we dismantle your mother's operation piece by piece." "And me?" Amara's voice was getting stronger, but each word still hurt. "What happens to me in this plan?" Ji-hoon was quiet for a moment, navigating through a roundabout. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. "That depends on what you want. You're not my prisoner, Amara. You're my ally. When this is done, you'll be free to go wherever you choose." Something about the way he said her name, Amara, not Miss Bennett, made her chest ache. They drove to Canary Wharf, to a glass tower that looked like it could slice the sky. Ji-hoon's penthouse was all sharp angles and minimalist furniture, the kind of space that belonged to someone who didn't stay anywhere long enough to call it home. Min-soo was waiting, a young Korean man with kind eyes and the alert posture of someone trained in combat. "Everything's ready," he said. Then, to Amara, "It's good to finally meet you. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances." "She's speaking," Ji-hoon told him. Min-soo's eyes widened. "The pills? I haven't taken them in 8 days," Amara said, her voice still rough but clearer now. "I've been hiding them, spitting them out. The effects are wearing off." "Good." Ji-hoon gestured to a laptop set up on the dining table. "We need to move fast. Victoria will realize you're gone within the hour. When she does, she'll either come for you or..." He didn't finish the sentence. "Or hurt Serena," Amara finished. "To punish me. We won't let that happen." Ji-hoon pulled up building schematics on the screen. "This is your house. This is the basement section. Min-soo hacked the security system last night. We have a 4-hour window before the next security sweep. But we need your help. You know the house better than anyone." For the next 30 minutes, they planned. Amara marked guard positions, pointed out blind spots in camera coverage, explained Victoria's routines. Her voice grew stronger with each sentence, as if speaking was a muscle she was learning to use again. "There's something you should know," Amara said finally. "My mother, she isn't just cruel. She's traumatized. When she was 19, she was trafficked from the US to Europe. She escaped after 2 years. Everything she's built, every terrible thing she's done, comes from that fear of being powerless again. Trauma doesn't excuse torture," Ji-hoon said flatly. "I know. But it explains it. And if we want to stop her without killing her, we need to understand that. She's not just a monster. She's a human being who became monstrous." Ji-hoon studied her for a long moment. "You still love her?" "I hate her," Amara corrected. "But yes. I love her too. It's complicated. Love usually is." Ji-hoon's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression darkened. "Your mother knows you're gone. She's sent Marcus to every location you've ever visited. She's called in favors from the Metropolitan Police. And she's issued a statement to her associates. Anyone who returns you safely gets paid. Anyone who harms you dies slowly. She always said she'd burn the world down before losing me," Amara whispered. "Then we'd better move before she strikes the match." They entered the Bennett mansion at 2 a.m. through the emergency exit Min-soo had unlocked remotely. The house was dark and silent, its grandeur turned sinister by shadows. Amara led the way, her bare feet silent on marble floors she'd walked 1,000 times. The basement door was hidden behind a false wall in Victoria's study. Amara's hands shook as she pressed the sequence Victoria thought no one else knew, a series of books pulled in a specific order, revealing a keypad. She entered the code, Serena's birthday. The door swung open on oiled hinges. The stairs descended into darkness that smelled of damp concrete and despair. Ji-hoon went first, gun drawn. Min-soo followed, then Amara. Each step felt like descending into hell. The basement was exactly as it had appeared in the video, cold, bare, designed to break someone's spirit slowly. And there, chained to the wall by one ankle, was Serena. She looked up at the sound of footsteps, and Amara's heart shattered. Her sister had been beautiful once, vibrant and rebellious and so full of life. Now she was gaunt, her natural hair matted, her dark skin ashy from lack of sunlight. But her eyes still burned with the same defiant fire. "If you're Victoria's new hired help," Serena rasped, "you can tell her I'm still not sorry. I'll never be sorry for loving him." "Serena." Amara's voice broke on her sister's name. "It's me." Serena's head snapped up. She stared at Amara like she was seeing a ghost. No. "No, you're dead. She said you were dead. She said you died because of me, because of my rebellion, because I'm alive. I'm here. I'm going to get you out. Amara crossed the room and fell to her knees beside her sister. They looked at each other for one frozen moment, then Serena lunged forward and wrapped her arms around Amara, chain rattling. "You're speaking," Serena sobbed. "Oh my God, you're speaking. How are you speaking?" "She's been drugging me. Making me mute. Making me compliant. But not anymore." Amara pulled back, brushed matted hair from her sister's face. "We're leaving. Both of us. Tonight." Ji-hoon knelt and examined the chain. "This is a hospital-grade restraint. Min-soo, the bolt cutters." "Who are you?" Serena demanded, eyeing Ji-hoon suspiciously. "Someone who hates your mother as much as you do," Ji-hoon said, positioning the bolt cutters on the chain. "Hold still." The metal sheared with a sharp crack that echoed in the basement. Serena tried to stand but her legs buckled. 3 years of limited movement had atrophied her muscles. "I've got you." Amara hooked her arm under her sister's shoulder. Together, she and Min-soo lifted Serena between them. They made it halfway up the stairs before the lights blazed on. Victoria stood at the top, flanked by Marcus and 3 other security guards. She wasn't holding a gun. She didn't need to. Her presence was weapon enough. "Step away from my daughters," Victoria said, her voice perfectly calm, perfectly controlled, and all the more terrifying for it. No one moved. Victoria descended 1 step. 2. Her gaze never left Amara's face. "What have you done, my darling? What have you done?" "I took your power away," Amara said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "The same way you took mine. I protected you." Victoria's composure cracked like ice. "I gave you everything. A perfect life, a perfect education, a perfect marriage. I made you safe. You made me a prisoner. Because the world is cruel." Victoria's shout echoed off concrete walls. "Do you know what they did to me? Do you know what it's like to be sold like meat, to be used and broken and thrown away? I survived that. I built an empire from nothing so that my daughters would never," her voice broke. "So you would never know that pain. So you gave us different pain instead," Serena spat. "You locked me in a cage for 3 years because I fell in love with the wrong person. You drugged Amara into silence because you were afraid she'd become like me. You didn't protect us, Mother. You destroyed us." Victoria's hand moved to her jacket. Ji-hoon's gun came up instantly. "Don't," he warned. But Victoria wasn't pulling a weapon. She pulled out a small remote. "This controls the deadbolts on every exit. With one press, we're all trapped here. The police will arrive in minutes. I called them the moment the basement alarm triggered. They'll find you, Mr. Kang, with my kidnapped daughters and enough evidence to put you away for life. Or..." She looked at Amara. "You come with me now. You marry into the Kang family as planned, and I let Serena go. I'll even send her to Switzerland, to a private facility where she can recover. She'll have her freedom. But you, Amara, you stay mine." "No deal," Amara said immediately. "Then you all rot here." Ji-hoon's expression turned cold. "You're bluffing. If the police come, they'll find your secret basement. They'll find evidence of kidnapping, of drugging your daughter with illegal compounds. You'll lose everything." "I'll lose everything anyway if Amara leaves me," Victoria said simply. "So yes, Mr. Kang. I'm willing to burn it all down. The only question is whether you are." The standoff stretched like taffy, seconds feeling like hours. Amara's mind raced. There had to be a way out. There had to be. "I'll testify," Marcus said suddenly. Every head turned toward him. He looked sick but resolute. "I'll testify to everything. The kidnapping. The drugging. The money laundering. All of it. I've kept records, Victoria. Insurance, in case you ever tried to use my daughter against me. I'll trade my testimony for immunity." Victoria's face went white. You wouldn't. I already have. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing a sent email. Proof of delivery to the Metropolitan Police, the FBI, Interpol. It's over, Victoria. For a moment, Victoria looked like she might collapse. Then her face twisted with rage and grief and something that might have been relief. I did everything for them, she whispered. Everything. And they still left me. Because love isn't meant to be a cage, Amara said softly. She carefully helped Min-soo set Serena down against the wall, then walked toward her mother. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm sorry you were hurt so badly that you couldn't see you were hurting us the same way. But I can't be your prisoner anymore. I can't be silent anymore. I have to live, Mother. And so does Serena. Victoria's hand trembled on the remote. If you leave, I have nothing. You have a chance to heal. To get help. To maybe, someday, be the mother we needed instead of the jailer we got. Amara held out her hand. Please. Let us go. The silence stretched. Then Victoria's fingers opened, and the remote clattered to the floor. She'd let go. The next 3 months were a blur of police stations, lawyers, therapy sessions, and slowly learning to breathe again. Victoria was arrested but deemed unfit to stand trial. Instead, she was remanded to a psychiatric facility for long-term treatment. The media had a field day with the scandal, prominent philanthropist exposed as crime lord and abusive mother. Amara testified. It was the hardest thing she'd ever done, standing in front of strangers and speaking about her captivity, her voice growing stronger with each session. Serena testified too, though some days she couldn't get through it without breaking down. Marcus received immunity in exchange for his evidence, which brought down 3 major trafficking rings and 2 corrupt politicians. He visited Amara once to apologize. She told him she forgave him but needed time before she could forget. Ji-hoon stayed. He hadn't planned to, he'd meant to return to Seoul once Victoria was arrested, his father's death avenged in a roundabout way. But somehow days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and he found himself making excuses to remain in London. He was there when Amara gave her first public speech about domestic abuse. He was there when Serena took her first unassisted steps after physical therapy. He was there on the hard days when Amara woke up screaming from nightmares of tight corsets and forced pills. It was raining the day Amara went to visit Victoria. The psychiatric facility was nice, as such places went, more like a spa than a hospital, though the locked doors told a different story. Victoria looked smaller than Amara remembered. She wore a simple blue sweater and jeans, her hair natural and unstyled. She looked up when Amara entered the visiting room and something complicated crossed her face. You came, Victoria said. I said I would. Amara sat across from her, separated by a table but not by glass. Victoria was deemed no longer a danger to herself or others. They sat in silence for a long moment. Finally, Victoria spoke. Your voice is beautiful. I'd forgotten how beautiful it was. You took it from me. I know. You locked Serena in a basement for 3 years. I know. You drugged me. Controlled me. Tried to turn me into something I wasn't. I know. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. I know what I am, Amara. The doctors here have made sure I understand exactly what I've done. They've explained how my trauma turned into my children's trauma, how I became what I feared most. And her voice broke. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know that somewhere beneath the monster I became, there was a mother who loved you. Who loves you still, even though she doesn't deserve to. Amara's throat tightened. I hate you. I know. And I love you. I know. Victoria's tears spilled over. How is that possible? Because you're my mother. Because you sang to me when I was small and taught me to be strong and told me I could be anything. Then you took all of that away. I hate you for the cage. I love you for the lullabies. Both things are true. What do I do with that? Victoria whispered. You heal, Amara said firmly. You get better. You do the work. And maybe, someday, if you prove you've changed, we can try to have something that isn't this. But it starts with you letting go. Victoria nodded slowly. I'm trying. Every day, I'm trying. That's all I can ask. Amara stood to leave, then paused. Mother? Serena is doing well. She's going back to school. She met someone, a therapist, actually. They're taking it slow. And I'm happy. For the first time in 7 years, I'm genuinely happy. Victoria smiled through her tears. That's all I ever wanted for you. I just went about it in the worst possible way. Yes, you did. 3 months after that visit, on a crisp autumn day when London's leaves were turning gold and bronze, Amara stood in her new apartment, a cozy flat in Bloomsbury, close to the university, with no tracking devices and no uncomfortable corsets in the closet. There was a knock. She opened it to find Ji-hoon standing there with flowers in one hand and something wrapped in the other. What's that? She asked, eyeing the package. Open it. She did, carefully peeling back the paper. Inside was one of her old corsets, the cream one Victoria had always insisted she wear, and a lighter. I thought you might want to destroy it yourself, Ji-hoon said quietly. Symbolic closure and all that. Amara stared at the hated thing, feeling nothing but contempt for what it represented. All those years of restricted breathing, of being shaped into someone else's ideal, of physical discomfort justified as elegance. Perfect idea, she said. They took the corset to the small fireplace in Amara's apartment. Ji-hoon helped her set up kindling, and together they placed the corset on top. Amara flicked the lighter, watching the flame dance. Any last words for it? Ji-hoon asked. Just one. Amara tossed the lighter onto the corset. It caught immediately, fabric and boning going up in acrid smoke. Goodbye. They watched it burn in silence, Ji-hoon's arm around her shoulders. When it was nothing but ashes, he turned to face her. I need to tell you something, he said, his usual composure cracking slightly. I'm supposed to return to Seoul next week. My family needs me. But he paused, searching for words. I don't want to go. Not if it means leaving you. Amara's heart stuttered. Ji-hoon. When this started, you were a means to an end. A way to hurt your mother the way she'd hurt my family. But somewhere between the basement rescue and watching you reclaim your voice and burning that cursed thing, you became more. You became everything. He cupped her face gently. I love you, Amara. Not the perfect silent girl your mother tried to create. Not the victim who needed saving. You, the brilliant, strong, complicated woman who learned to fly after having her wings clipped for so long. Tears spilled down Amara's cheeks. I love you too. You helped me find my voice again. Not by giving it to me, but by showing me I'd had it all along. By believing I was strong enough to take it back. So what do we do? Ji-hoon asked. I can't ask you to give up your life here. Your studies, your healing, your sister. Seoul has universities, Amara interrupted. And therapists. And video calls for Serena. I'm not running away from London. I'm running toward something new. Toward you. Toward us. Toward a life I actually choose. Ji-hoon's expression transformed, hope and relief and joy flooding his features. Are you sure? For the first time in my life, Amara said, rising on her toes to kiss him, I'm making my own choice. And I choose you. Their kiss tasted like freedom and possibility and all the tomorrows they'd build together. When they pulled apart, both breathless and smiling, Ji-hoon said something in Korean that made Amara laugh. What was that? I said, you're stuck with me now. Good. Amara took his hand, intertwining their fingers. I'm done being silent. I'm done being still. I'm done being anything except exactly who I choose to be. And right now, I choose to be happy. I choose to be loved. I choose to be free. Then that's exactly what you'll be. They stood together watching the last embers of the corset die, ash floating up the chimney like tiny birds finally taking flight. Behind them, on Amara's desk, was an acceptance letter to Seoul National University's mathematics program. Beside it, a photo of her and Serena laughing at a cafe, both of them looking more like themselves than they had in years. The past would always be part of them. Trauma doesn't disappear, it just becomes something you learn to carry. But the future was unwritten, full of possibility, no longer dictated by fear or control or anyone's definition of safety except their own. Amara Bennett had been silent for 7 years. Had been caged, controlled, and nearly destroyed by the person who should have protected her most. But she'd survived. She'd escaped. She'd found her voice and her strength and her choice. And she'd found love in the most unexpected place, in the car of a ruthless Mafia boss who looked at her and saw not a victim to be protected, but an equal to be cherished. The chains were broken. The cage was open. And Amara was finally, beautifully, impossibly free. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more intense dramas. Drop a comment telling us what you'd do in Amara's situation. Would you choose revenge or healing?